morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show presented by Mel Hambelton Ford. My name is Phil Nightingale. I'm the general manager. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning.
Josh, our service director, here to take your calls at 316-462-3673. Hey, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries? You want to talk about anything in the automobile world? You want to talk about MH Ford Racing or just anything you at all? Jump on the phones here. Love to take your questions. And as always, this is a call-in show. It's the only show I know you get paid to call in on. And we'd love to hear from you. Love to take the calls and help you with whatever it is. So as always, Josh, what's in that great package valued at over $130?
So we're going to mail it out to you, but it's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products here at Mel Hambelton Ford. While we're completing that, we're also going to perform nitrogen, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer, as well as a multi-point inspection on that vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety related components. You'll get yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're here with us at the big corner. And then a BG products package, which is going to consist of a can of MOA or motor oil additive, and then a can of CF5 for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving.
All right, let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. Morning, Jason Cox. How you doing, buddy? And so anyway, Josh, and so sorry, you got that through too fast for me, Josh. Got to answer a couple more texts.
Yeah, it's been a very busy week here for us for sure on the service side. You know, summer's still here, the heat's still on from that side of things, and
but it is winding down, and we always talk about it. I can't stand it.
And for me, the temperature, I obviously it'd be nice to be even temperature all the time and not as hot as what we've had, but for me, it's more the daylight. You know, when the daylight starts changing and it gets darker sooner, that becomes a concern, I guess, let's say. But
it's just a little bit of a concern.
Yeah, definitely been a busy week around here for sure. We've got a lot going on, with the new recon building going in over there and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's coming up. The pad is set out there, ready to go. Got a few little glitches though, Josh. Can you imagine that?
Every day, right? Yeah.
Yeah. We're trying to. We're kind of at a standstill right now because the city is fighting us on a couple things we got to do and everything else too. So it's going to be a little bit delayed for a second here, and hopefully Monday we can get on the phone with the city and get some things done and get the actual permit done and ready to roll through and help it go.
Yeah,
from that part. But yeah, we are at a standstill out there for just a little bit till we can get some stuff authorized and get it through the equation. But the city's fighting us a little bit, and some of the things, I was on the way to Salina last night. Bill Johnson from Evans Building, who's doing our great job for helping us build these buildings around here, called me and he's frustrated. Some of the things he was rattling off to me that they're having us do don't make sense to me either. But again, don't know that side of the business, whatever too. So hopefully the detail shop, I hope it's still on schedule. We'll be in there at the end of the year. And everybody, this is going to be a state-of-the-art detail shop we're going to have. It's going to be a huge thing that we're going to offer all kinds of different things, from not just details, but we're going to get into the wraps of 3M film. Of course, we're ready to do our wraps and everything out at Big Corner Creative, but putting the film on a car is totally different than putting a wrap on a car.
Yeah. Yep.
Up in that part. So we're going to be into that. And then we're going to get into ceramic coating. And I got a lovely text from Jared Shivers yesterday talking about ceramic coatings. We'll get into that here just a minute here from that part. But excited to have the detail shop. It's kind of one of our areas. The buildings down there east are a little dilapidated and not very good. But so if you know someone that's really ready to take it to the next level in detailing, we're going to be hiring several detailers and stuff to be in that building. It's going to be heated and climate controlled, heated and air conditioned controlled 24/7. For you. Great environment for there to work. And I think we've got a good layout of that building. We've made it to where we can expand onto it as we need to. So I hope it's going to be kind of like the quick lane, and we start expanding it very quickly as we go through there. So we're going to work on all kinds of things from that detailing side. But
PDR is another thing that
PDR. And we're also going to be getting into the paint, a little bit of paint touch up stuff, not painting things. We're going to get into the touch-up and that sort of thing. So if you got a scratch or you got a little ding or something like that, or a door check or something like that, or a rock hit you in the front, whatever, we're going to get into that also for you too. So lots of things happening in the detail shop. So if you got somebody that's in the detail business or thinking about getting in the detail business, we'd love to talk to them because we're going to be hiring several people. Love to hire people now from that part too. So let us know on that part. So ceramic coating, didn't know much about it. couple of years ago when I got my GT500, and everybody said, "Hey, that's what you got to do." And so basically, I did it, and it's just like anything else. So it's a several step process depending on how you want to do it, what you want to do with ceramic coating. I see people advertising ceramic coating out there, and that's just a wipe on, wipe off deal.
Yeah.
Does that help? Yeah, sure it does. Is it better than wax? Yeah, it sure is from that part. But that's really, to me, not what ceramic coating is. And Josh, have you done any of your cars?
Yeah, so I did the Corvette.
Did you?
Yeah, and it
forgot
was
you did do that, didn't you?
it made a world of difference. Just in the appearance for one, and it's just like everything else. There's a budget for everything.
There you go.
You can get I would relate it to a fuel additive. You can go down to Walmart and buy a fuel additive for $1.99, or you could pay.
Not get much for that,
for a BG additive is going to be, not $1.99, but there's a difference in those additives.
Yeah. Exactly. Ceramic coating, can you just get a good product and put it on and wipe it off, and then you've got a better coating and everything else? Yeah, you can. And so many benefits just to that step is, bugs not sticking to the car, rain not sticking to the car, dirt not sticking to the car, that sort of thing. But it's basically just giving you an extra layer of protection over your car. But the next step is actually going in, and these guys got these technical terms for it. But my deal of how I look at it is going in and polishing all the fine scratches out of it.
So the paint
correction or something they call it. Not my world, but I remember when they were doing my GT500, he would send me pictures of spots that weren't done versus
kind of
spots
before and after,
and just spots, and it was blowing me away at what it looks like. And then when you actually get the car back to see it, it's crazy.
Well, so what I remember, I took I was trying to remember what car it was when I'm down, but it was I think it was maybe Kelly Estes' and
500.
Yeah, it's 500,
and
I think it was a 500. But anyways, looking at it, on the showroom when he dropped it off, I was like, man, that's in pretty decent shape. And we took it down to the facility that they were doing it at, and pulled in there, and just the lights that they had down there and what it looked like under those lights versus what it looked like on the service drive, and then how it looked once it was done, it blew you away. I mean, you take a brand new car and you think, it looks pretty decent, and then and just the sheen on it and how it looks. But then the other thing is just a car sitting around naturally in the dust that it accumulates and stuff like that, versus how much easier it is to clean up afterwards.
Exactly. To clean it, keeping the bugs off of it. And then even, like I said, the rock's hitting it. I mean, it's just an extra layer of protection. So if the rock does hit it, can it still chip the paint? Sure, it can. But I mean, it's giving you an extra layer there of stopping that from happening. And of course, that's what the 3M film is. And again, we say 3M, and I think that's because that's who first originally come up with that film. But I know there's probably other manufacturers out there with that film and stuff. And I've had some negative things on film years ago, but I'm sure that technology has changed drastically, how much better that is and everything else too.
Years ago you'd put it on, and then, 5 years down the road, it kind of haze or white, and you don't see that much anymore. And I think there's a direction to go, or an argument of what to use both ways. It's really about application and what you're trying to achieve long term and things like that. And, it's just like maintenance for the most part, is that everybody's needs are different, and it's just a matter of what your application is, what you're trying to achieve, how long you want it to be like that and stuff like that, as far as which way. But
it is. It's just like you said, everybody's got a different plan of attack. And I'm going to tell you that if I had a daily driver today, and I was out on the highway all the time and everything else like that, the 3M film was probably what I would do. Putting the film on there to protect the front from all the bugs, all the rocks, and all that kind of stuff. You take my GT500, it's set and don't drive it very much or anything else like that. And that's kind of what the guy told me when I first did my 500, because I talked to him about the film. And that's what he told me. He said, this is not a daily driver. Let's get a paint correction. Let's put a good film of ceramic coating on there. Of course, I take it back every 6 months to have him redo it and go back through it again. I probably got 10 layers of protection, I think, now, but that's okay. Kind of one of those guys that more's better, right? So anyway, put the 3M film on. If I have a daily driver, I still think I would want to, before I put the film on, I would still want to put a ceramic coat on it from that part. just to help protect it more, everything else from that standpoint. Then again, I might be talking wrong here. You might not be able to put the film on if you put ceramic coat on. I don't know that, but I'm not saying it's not true there either. But again, if I'm out on that highway all the time, everything else with that, the film's kind of the way I'd go. But if I want my car to look good, stay looking good, I would do the paint correction where they go in. And I mean, they spend several hours of going in there and doing that paint correction and cleaning it up, cleaning all the scratches out and everything else too, and then put the coating on there. And then again, that's another thing is, on mine back in 2020, it was a set for 5 days after it was done, so it could cure and get hard and everything else like before I drove it. And I think now it's like 24 hours you can go and drive and stuff too from that part. So anyway, Josh, we got a caller coming in through. You're getting punched in here, so we'll get Sabrina checked in here in just a second. From that part. Anyway, 316-462-3673. Hey, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, whatever it might be, we're here to answer your questions and give you the great price package by over $130 for each and every caller. And again, anything you want to talk about in this automobile world, love to hear from you. And who knows, sometimes there's also a diagnostic fact that goes along with that too. So 316-462-3673, and we'll get Sabrina checked in here, and she's coming through the front desk. We'll get her online here and see what her question is, what she might have to talk about this morning. Love to hear from anybody and help you with that. And like I said, it's only show you get paid to call in on. So getting her patched in here, Josh?
I think so. Yeah, there we go. Sabrina, you're on live with Under the Hood. Sabrina, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So I have a 2007 Ford Focus. Now, when I first get in the vehicle, the clutch is like really low down to the floor. And sometimes if I pump it, it works a little bit better. Now, I know that the fluids seem to be okay. Is there anything that you could tell me, like what am I missing? What am I needing to look for?
And so there is an actual fluid for the clutch or a separate reservoir, and that's been checked and the level is okay on that?
I do believe so. I bought it from my brother, and he had said that everything had been checked and refilled recently.
Yeah.
So
obviously the first thing that I would wonder about is the fluid level. And then the other thing is that if maybe at one point in time, if you just recently purchased it, the fluid level was low and or even out, and then they filled it back up, there could be air in the system that would cause that. So, the procedure of bleeding the clutch would be a thing that could correct that. But then the other side of that is that if that system is leaking, there's something wrong. Or if you're having to add fluid to it, there's something wrong, in the sense of either it's leaking somewhere or the thickness of the clutch is the clutch plate has thinned down enough just from wear and tear and use that it's absorbing that fluid. So that would be the first thing to look at. The other thing, if you have a master cylinder or slave cylinder that's not doing exactly what it needs to be doing, and it's allowing fluid to kind of pass by it or leak by it, that would also give you that same filling. And so it would just be one of those things that we would need to look at and run some diagnostics on it to see exactly what's happening and from where. We'll throw a diagnostic onto your package and take a look at that at no charge to you, and get you an idea as to what's going on and why for that thing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
And you're able to get it into gear, though. It's just the pedal is pretty
really
low.
Hard. But and the pedal's really far down, and then sometimes the shifting gets easier the more I drive it. But when I first started up, it's really hard to get it into gear to begin with. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say that we're probably going to find something along the lines of a fluid leak, or maybe air in that system from a fluid leak with the vehicle. So, how many miles are on that thing?
Oh gosh, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's. You know what? Give me just half of a second, and I can look, because I have drive safe and save.
Gotcha. Okay, on your phone there, got it connected right there.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So give me just half of a second, and it'll hopefully give it to me.
And when you want it to work fast, it's slow.
I know. It's crazy.
Never fails, does it?
And of course, I know, and of course, it doesn't really want to tell me what it is.
Yeah, that's
That's
okay.
okay.
Yeah, it's no
I don't
problem,
know.
so.
I know that it's it's definitely a high mileage vehicle.
That's okay. It should be for an 07.
Yeah. So Sabrina, we'll get that.
It's a 2007 Ford Focus.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wants me to update the odometer right now, so it's not going to tell me.
That's okay.
No problem.
Let's get it in here. Let's take a look at it real quick, see if we can figure out what's going on with it for
We'll
you.
get that. We'll get that
You
added
guys
onto
are
your
amazing.
package.
I
So,
appreciate it.
all right. Well, good deal. Thank you for the call, Sabrina.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
All right, let's get Daryl coming through. We got another caller coming up here, so we'll get Daryl coming through here in just a second. Anyway, 316-462-3673. That's the number to our front desk. The girls answer the phone, tell them you want to get passed into the podcast, and they'll send us a text. We'll tell them when you're ready for it to send you through, and Daryl's going to be coming up here next. So,
that's oddly enough a discussion we were having last night is about manual transmissions, and people just don't. There's not very many people that really know how to drive manual transmissions much anymore. Of course, there's a lot less of them from that side.
That's
of things,
very true.
That
used to be the standard thing. Was an automatic. I mean, a manual.
A manual.
Anymore it's kind of not that way.
We were talking about, I think every driver's education class in America should be with a manual transmission from that side. So let's go to the phones. Let's talk to Daryl. Daryl, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to ask a question. I've got a 2005 Ranger, and it has about 77,000 miles on it. And I've never changed the rear end oil in the differential. How often should that oil be changed, and should it be changed now?
So yes, I would say that it should be changed now. So for a blanketed term, we recommend differential fluids around 45 to 50,000 miles. And then, there should be a time period with that as well, because the fluid will absorb moisture, through the vents and everything like that as well. And when the moisture gets into the fluid, it breaks down its ability to heat cycle or to lubricate as the fluid is warmed up or heated up, just because of the moisture in the fluid as well. And so, it especially when you talk trucks. Now, Ranger is a little bit different of a story, but if you're pulling, or you have a boat and you're putting it in the water all the time, things like that, all of that affects that fluid. I can think of an instance just yesterday that I was back with a technician, and he pulled a drain plug out of a rear differential on an F-150, and it had like 30,000 miles on it. And when he did, it was milk that come out of it. And that person at that vehicle has been in water or around water, and I'm sure they probably have a boat that they've taken out and put on a ramp several different times from that side to make that happen. And so again, I go back to just what you're using the vehicle for, and doing a good visual inspection on that fluid. But as a blanketed term, typically around 45, 50,000 miles is when we would recommend the differential fluid to be changed out.
Okay, well, I better get it over there then.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the call.
Yeah, some things we kind of forget about. Years ago, I still remember this with my dad. We had a little wire hook that we would take and take the drain plug the fill plug out of a differential, and take the little hook to put in there, see how much fluid was in there. And guess what color it was every time it come out?
Yeah.
Black. Because, back in those days, we never thought at all of ever changing differential fluid. Never. We just filled it up. I think it's probably because the reason we didn't leak, they all leaked so much. We had to know what was going on there. And it's another thing. It's like power steering fluid. We never knew it. We just topped them off and kept going. Of course, they probably leaked enough out to keep fresh fluid in too from that part. And brake flush. We never did that either.
Yeah.
Brake flush. What are you talking about?
Yeah, very, very much
but
so.
But today, that is so crucial for what we got. So, hey,
well, I don't, like you said, everything then leaked.
Yeah,
you know,
we had leaks everywhere,
and it was
yeah.
it was just part of it, and you just topped it off and went on.
That's why you went every 200 miles. You had to be at a filling station, topping everything off. Now we go 5,000 miles and don't know what we're doing. So anyway, Brandon Moon, good morning. Sorry it took so long. Had some callers coming in here all the way from Chanute. Thanks for watching. Troy Furman, good morning, Troy. Anyway, we're going to get Grant checked in here in just a second, see what's on Grant's mind this morning, see what kind of questions he's got going on. 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. Anything in the automobile world, anything ailing your car, tires, brakes, batteries, MH Ford Racing, whatever it might be. We're here to take your calls and love to hear from you and give you a great prize package. And here we go.
Grant, you're on live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Hey, I recently bought a car with a cold air intake. However, I don't know how to maintain it to have peak performance.
And that's a great question.
Yeah, that is a very good question. And so a lot of the cold air intakes like that, I don't know if yours was a specific K&N or not or whatever from that side of it, but
there's so many products out there today
there
too.
are, but they have serviceable filters in them. And that is something. Obviously, the cleaner that filter is, the better job that it's, or the more air you're going to be able to get from that side. But then also, the better performance you're going to get out of it. So, it would be just like changing an air filter or checking your air filter. And when that thing is dirty, there's a service kit that you can purchase to go along with them. And basically, there is a cleaner that you put on to the air filter initially, and it's a detergent, almost like a degreaser. So you'll put the detergent on it or the cleaner on it. Then you run water through it. And when you run water through it, you want to run it from the inside of the filter out. So as it was on the vehicle, where the air is going to first contact the filter to go into the motor. So you want to go opposite of that. You want the motor side of the filter to run the water out the other way. And the main reason for that is so you're not embedding or impacting that stuff further into the filter from that side. I've seen people use compressed air. You really don't want to do that.
Oh yeah, bad news there.
You want to just use water and not high pressure water, just enough out of a garden hose. Then you let the filter completely dry. And then after that, there's oil as part of that kit that you reapply to the filter. Now on the oil, in case in point, we talked about earlier in the show is that if a little's good, a lot's better. That's not necessarily the case in this point. I've seen people over oil these filters, and then
really, I didn't know that.
And then the oil get on the mass airflow sensors and stuff like that, and cause drivability issues from that side of things. So, but you're really just wanting enough oil on it that it's coated, that it's collecting the dirt and kind of coated the filter a decent amount. So you don't want the filter dripping from that side, and then it's just a matter of reinstalling it from that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the information. I appreciate it.
And that is a service we offer as well, as far as cleaning those. And that is something that, the guys check for when we service them and recommend if it needs it. But it's just a matter of a visual inspection and a proper cleaning procedure. The main thing, I think, is just let the filter completely dry out before you reinstall the oil. So.
Gotcha. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, you bet. Glad for the call. Thanks for calling in. Anyway, there's getting a lot of more of those cold air intakes out there and everything else too, for performance wise, all that kind of thing too. And Josh, I'm gonna tell you, I use a washable filter in the race car, and yeah, sometimes that little oil kind of gets in there a little bit too much. I don't know why that happens either, but more is better, right, Josh?
Yeah.
So
in your case, probably not as
it's
crucial.
not real crucial because it's going to suck it in there and run it through there and stuff too. But I get in a hurry, get ready to go, and everything else too. But yeah, that washable filter, and a lot of guys laugh at me about that filter, but I do believe keeping a good clean filter. And some of these guys run these air filters in the dirt tracks, 3 or 4 weeks. I can't stand it. I clean that thing after every race.
And to me, that's it's an inexpensive assurance, I guess. You know what I'm saying? If you're getting dirt and debris down in an engine, that's not
That's not good
good,
at all.
you know.
So I just think those filters do a better job of doing that. But again, like he was saying, when is the proper time and how often do you do it? And my opinion on a washable filter, you never can do it too much.
Yeah.
Because if you do it right, like you said, cleaning it the right way, washing it out backwards, and then putting the right amount of oil on there and everything else too, I just don't think you can do it too much. And I think it's a great deal. But again, a lot of times they put cold air intakes on these things, and sometimes there's a good improvement, sometimes there's not. Sometimes it just sounds better, that part. So anyway, what else we talked about? Did we get through ceramic coating? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I
I guess another thing you can do is here's what I'll tell you. It's kind of like you talked about earlier, how much you spend on things or whatever from that part. On the ceramic coating, can you wipe some stuff on and wipe it off and be better than wax? Yeah, you can. It's probably going to cost you, I don't know, $200-300 from that part. Now to go in and take a car, and again, it depends on the size of the car and everything else like that. And what
the paint correction too is a large part of that estimate too. If you have a car that has a lot of real fine scratches on it, and they've got to kind of work at it and wet sand it to get those out, that's going to make a huge difference too so I think the prep work on the ceramic coating is probably just as important as the ceramic coating itself.
Yeah. But you can, you can just put ceramic coating on, not paint correction it too.
Yeah.
But I don't
know why you would want to do that, but yeah.
But only thing I could think of there, Josh, is just to give you an extra layer of protection from the existing paint that you do have or whatever. But if you put that car, I don't care what car it is, whatever, you put under the right lights like you talked about and stuff too, you'll see them fine scratches really quick and everything else too. So putting ceramic coating on a normal F-150, can we do that? Yeah, you can put that on there. Is it going to better protect it? Yeah, it can. Difference is $200-300 versus to paint correction one and everything else, around $2,000 is what you're going to spend to paint correction, because those guys are going to spend hours upon hours detail polishing that thing out and making it happen and stuff too, from that part. But and then you can get into ceramic coating the wheels, the brake calipers, fender wells, windshields, glass. And then the interior, there's also ceramic coating for the interiors and the carpet and the vinyl and the leather and all those different things. So there's all kinds of products. And again, it goes back to the good products that you have, is get what you pay for. Same difference on the fuel additives and that kind of thing of what you're going to get with that ceramic coating from that part. So,
I go back to the first caller's comment. What was your first manual transmission?
Very first car I
was going to say, probably right out of the gate, right?
You're just kind of funny.
Was the Scout a manual?
It was. It started out to be a manual until someone blew that manual transmission up.
How do you blow up a manual transmission?
Let me tell you something there, Josh. If that Scout
is that even possible?
Oh, I did it.
Really?
Yeah. Well, like I said, if that Scout could talk, man, well, I'd be in trouble. But
statute of limitations is run out on that stuff a long time ago.
So next time you see the Scout, look in, you'll see where my dad took the clutch pedal and the brake pedal, and he put a big old nut between them and took two bands. So now I got instead of having a brake pedal about 4 inches wide, I got a one big brake pedal across there from that deal. Yeah, the old 3-speed manual gave up pretty quick. I don't know what happened there or whatever, but I got a pretty good idea what happened from that part. But no, the very first car I ever drove was our dune buggy.
Oh, okay.
My dad took a VW bug and converted it into a fiberglass dune buggy. We put some cool wheels on. I had the old stacks coming out the back, so you could hear him coming wherever he was at and stuff too. So we were still at the station there at First and Main there in Halstead, and the back lot was kind of a dirt lot. And him and I were getting in the dune buggy to go somewhere or whatever, and he left it running. And I thought, you know what? So I slid over, took off, drove around the circle, come back in there, and he walked back in and goes, "You drove this thing, didn't you?" And how the hell did you know? I saw my tracks. He saw my tracks.
Things you don't think of.
Yeah. So now, if my brother-in-law Greg could call in, when I first met him, I got to think how old I was being. Probably. Well, let's think about that for a minute. I'm 8 years behind my sister, so probably 10 years old when I first met Greg. And we had the dune buggy out behind my house. I took Greg for a ride in the dune buggy. And have him tell you that story is pretty crazy. So sometime we'll have to get Greg to call in and talk about the ride in the dune buggy after I first met him.
And you were 10 with the manual
probably
transmission.
Probably 10. Yeah, manual transmission, 4-speed in the old dune buggy.
Okay, now how about first 3 on the tree?
Okay, well, that was my dad's 58 Ford.
Oh, okay.
He had an F100. And now here's Josh. Here's the next thing is too. We had a 3 on the tree in that thing with a flathead V8 in it, and he had a pair of slicks for the back. And
Really?
He tuned that motor. He tore that motor apart, went back through it, did everything, and put those slicks on the back of it, and he could pull the left front wheel off the ground.
Really?
With that truck. Yeah, he had that thing dialed in pretty good. I wish he could tell us that story to hear about that stuff too. Yeah, 3 on the tree was my dad's 58 F100 red, regular cab, 2-wheel drive stuff too. Okay, so now back to you. What was your
first, I mean, manuals was tractors, all the way. But as far as first manual car was, man, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it was a farm truck like an F-350 or something. And then the 3 on the tree was, and I was still really young then, but Grandpa was looking for another farm truck, and there was this one guy, and he just, I don't know, just collected stuff.
Yeah.
Just collected stuff. And you'd go out there and there's cars just littered everywhere. And you'd ask him like, hey, what do you want for that deal over there? And it was an F100.
Yeah.
Bought it. And I didn't even know a 3 on a tree was a thing. So I'm thinking it's an automatic.
Oh,
and we get in it, and our Grandpa was like, how much you want for that thing? And he's like, oh, I don't even remember what he paid, but couldn't have been more than probably $500 or something.
If that.
Back then, yeah. And he said, well, what do you think's wrong with it? And the guy's like, I'm pretty sure it ran out of gas out there. And he says, then a little bit later, I went out and maybe pulled the battery out and stuck it in something else. I mean, it was that type of place. Sure shit. We went out there, put a battery in it and some gas in it and fired up.
Check it out.
But I got in it to drive it. And I was like, well, why does that have a clutch pedal in it with the shifter up there? And so by the time I drove it home, I knew how to drive a 3 on a tree from that side.
Back, away you go.
Yep, for sure. So
all right, let's hear from some. Let's hear what your first car you drove as a manual transmission. If it was a 4-speed or a 3-speed or on the floor, or if it was on the tree or whatever we call it. 316-462-3673. Get the great price package. Just to tell us what was your first car you drove with a manual transmission. And if it was on the floor or whether it was on a 3-speed on the tree. Yeah, that's one. They only had 3 speeds on the tree. Yeah, it has to be a 3-speed because you could never get no more gears than that.
Where the next one was at for sure.
So let's hear from what your first manual transmission was you drove. And the old 3 on the tree, that was you had to get that thing just right.
And then I don't know from the clutch standpoint. I mean, it just kind of came natural, and I think a lot of that for me was just being on tractors, kind of growing up and stuff. But
it's
and I've seen a lot of people struggle on that.
I have too. So
sitting there driving something around, man, that smells a little funny with the clutch burning up on it.
Yeah. So anyway, let's hear what's your first manual transmission that you ever drove. 316-462-3673. Your make and model. What was it? Mine was the dune buggy on the floor, 4-speed. And then the next would have been, golly, after that, it has to be the F100, 3-speed on the tree.
And so mine, I think probably would have been an F-350, an old F-350. But
sure,
I mean,
back
first,
then, you sure wasn't a 300?
300, yeah. But
300.
First gear was so low that you didn't have to
pull a house down.
You didn't have to. There was no feather in the clutch or anything. You just put it in that gear and let it out, and it take right off for sure.
Yeah,
on that side.
Anyway, so let's get the phones ringing. 316-462-3673. Again, anything in the car, tires, brakes, batteries. But still, what was your first car that you drove as a manual transmission?
And then, while we're waiting on that call, so Broncos got a manual transmission in it now.
Yeah.
From that side, when they first come out with the Bronco, they released it with a manual transmission. I was trying to think, as Mustang would be, I guess, our other product line for a manual transmission. The Mach-E, I think, has a manual transmission too, doesn't it? Yeah. No.
Mach-E, yeah. That's manual, all right.
Yeah.
1 speed, that's it.
You got the go pedal or the no-go pedal.
Yeah,
from that side.
That's another funny story. When you say go pedal.
Oh yeah.
When watching Racing Dirt there, I don't remember which track that was or whatever, but Ellie was there and she texted me, says, you got to listen to this guy. He was the announcer there. one of those racetracks. You know, Racing Dirt does the announcing, and then when it goes to the support classes, then their track announcer gets in there and goes, and that was his favorite thing to say: "Too heavy on the go pedal." So every time you say the go pedal, I think of that guy.
Think of that deal.
Too heavy on the go pedal.
I was trying to think of what Trenton called in that one time, and he had some saying, and I don't remember what it was, but I remember at the time
he dropped him like a set of 40 lap used up tires.
And I was like, man, I'm gonna remember that. Yeah. Oh, it did. That's right. Anyways, we've got Larry getting patched through here. Hopefully he's got a manual transmission story for us.
I bet he does.
I can feel it. So we'll
feel it like a set of 40 lap used up tires.
Get him patched through here and see what's on Larry's mind this morning.
Okay, 316-462-3673. Love to hear from you. What was your first manual transmission car you ever drove? Love to hear from you. And where's Larry? Come on, Larry. So anyway, as we're getting Larry patched in here too, we're just wanting to know, what is your first manual transmission, and was it 4 on the floor? Of course, there were some 3-speeds on the floor too.
Yeah. Yeah, not many.
How about those old Chrysler products used to have the push button on the dash? How about that?
That's not a manual transmission.
No, it's not. I'm just saying, but I remember those quite well too.
So gotten a new Tahoe, or well, not a new Tahoe, but a 22 Tahoe yesterday, and they've went back to that push button on the dash. It's not a push button deal, but you actually
Really?
They're up there. And then I'd not been in one of them before and seen that. I just thought it was kind of odd or weird. So
someone traded a 22 Tahoe in already, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, having a little technical difficulties getting Larry to come through.
We'll get him, try to get him resent here. So, and then here, let's
got another caller coming through. Maybe we lost Larry.
Larry, if we lost you, let's try back, if you would here. Let's see. We'll send Larry. I think maybe we lost you in the queue here. So let's we're gonna move on to Ruth, and then we'll hopefully, Larry, if you can call back in, and we'll get you picked back up here. So we'll move on to the next caller here. Get them patched through as well. I think we got a couple of different callers in queue here. So looks like we're getting them resent. Got a couple people that want to tell manual transmission stories, it looks like. Okay.
I'm sure we got a bunch of people coming in now. So I'm seeing them coming in now too. So we got Ruth. We get Ruth in here yet, and got Jason Cox coming up, and something's happening here twice. Something's not getting our callers through here. So sorry for those little technical difficulties here. We'll get through here real quick and
see what she has going on. So how about speaking of, there we go. Now we got
now it depends who we got.
Yeah. So hey, you're on live with Under the Hood. Who do we have the pleasure of speaking with?
Yeah, this is Larry.
Oh, Larry, good deal.
Yeah, 36 Chevy.
A 36 Chevy.
Floor. That's the first car. That's when I heard about it.
Okay, so that had to be a 3-speed on the tree, right?
Yes, it was.
Yep, being a 37.
No, it was on the floor. Huh?
Was it on the
floor? About a 3-foot long gear shift.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Had to have that leverage to get those gears moved together, right?
Yeah, you had to get a little leverage.
So you said it was a 36. What year
36.
was it? What year was it that you?
That would have been. Let's see. I'm 77 years old.
Yeah.
So, let's say 15, probably 61.
And then, so out of that, how many years did you have it?
Oh, the car?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I remember my dad he kept it after that, and I went on to school. And
yep.
Understand that.
But when he passed away, we finally sold it, part of the estate. I don't know what happened to it after that.
Sure.
Yeah, so it probably had a 6-cylinder in it, didn't it?
A what?
6-cylinder motor.
Yes, yes.
Straight 6. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
I remember him working on that thing in the garage, putting new rods and stuff in it.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't.
So,
Didn't do anything with the clutch, did he?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, he may have. I don't know. But he was working. He worked on it all the time.
That's how it was back then.
Yeah.
You constantly had a toolbox in the back of your car, and you worked on them every minute you could, and you had to keep them
That's
running,
what you
keep them
did.
going. Yeah, it's just how it was back then.
That's what you did.
Totally different world.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, Larry. Thanks for the call. Love to hear from you, and thanks for calling in, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, now. Bye.
You betcha. Bye. All
There
right,
we
so we're
go.
going to get Ruth patched in here. A little technical. We've got people patched in here. We'll get them going there. 37 Chevrolet, 3-speed on the floor, 6-cylinder motor. Bet that thing went 45 mile an hour.
Well, yeah. And then, you think of, I don't know, just the technology. We'll go back to the phones here and talk to, I believe we have Ruth. Ruth, are you live with us?
I am.
Very good. Do you have a manual transmission story, Ruth?
Well, I didn't learn how to drive a manual until I was like 22. But it was a Geo tracker. It had a soft top roof that could come off, and best little car.
Yep.
Best little car to learn how to drive on.
And what year was it you said?
And I don't know what year the vehicle was, but
It was
that
92.
Yeah, probably. No, it wasn't 92. It was in 2002 when I learned how to drive it.
2002. Gotcha. Yeah.
It probably was in the
Yeah.
90 model. I can't remember when they quit making the Geos.
So they did the Geo trackers, and then Isuzu picked them up as the Amigo or whatever, if I remember right. Yeah.
I think it sounds probably right.
Yeah, those are pretty short wheelbase cars, and they'll get around pretty good.
Yep. It was good to get me back and forth to school.
That's all that matters, right?
There you go.
Well, hey, Ruth, thanks for calling. Thanks for letting us know your first car. So appreciate that very much, Ruth. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. All right, let's get, looks like we need to get Jason in here next. Let's get Jason patched through, and let's see what Jason's first manual transmission car was.
I wonder, we forgot to ask her if that had to have a clutch put in it or not afterwards.
We didn't ask her that, did we? Probably need to find out. We'll have to keep asking those questions, Josh. So
we'll get 6 Jason sent through here, get him dialed up. So it's just I was trying to think of as far as wrecking a manual versus an automatic.
Well, let's see.
We got Jason on the line. Jason, you're live with Under the Hood. Go ahead.
Morning, guys. How are you? So I got a funny manual transmission story for you.
Okay.
Right.
So back in 1985, I was 15 in high school, and I was taking driver's ed. Well, back then, my dad worked for Schofield Brothers Pontiac, and that's when the Trans Am, was hot. And so it surprised me. My dad brought home a manual Trans Am and took me to a parking lot and let me practice on it there. And let me tell you, that thing had so much power. I was even scared to even drive it.
Yeah.
It's kind of awesome just to do that.
Yeah, that's very cool to be able to have that experience, especially in that car, being the first one that you got to drive it in. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Anyway, I thought I'd share that story with you.
could you smell the clutch at the end of the deal?
No,
probably so, right?
no. I was so scared of driving it because, number one, they let him actually take it home.
Yeah.
And I was so scared I was going to wreck because that thing has so much power. And, oh, my God.
Yeah, especially letting that clutch out just
Right
a little
after
bit
you
too.
find them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Let that clutch out a little bit too fast and hang on.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, very cool story, and thanks for sharing that with us, Jason.
All right, you guys. I'm on my way to see you guys. You guys have a transmission for me, so
Oh,
I'm
good.
going to make you guys some money today.
Well, there we go.
So,
All right. Appreciate that. All
there
right.
you go.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
You guys have a good weekend.
You
too,
too,
buddy.
Bye.
All right, still taking the calls on what was your first manual transmission you ever drove, and we're getting ready to patch in Paula.
Yeah, we'll get
Paula
her.
will be here next. Patch through here real quick and see what her, if that may, who knows, might not be her question.
Yeah, maybe she has a car question
Might
instead
be,
of
huh?
a manual transmission comment. I guess we still do that, so we'll get her sent through here as well.
Yep. So,
yeah, I can just imagine, being maybe of that age and dad showing up with a Trans Am and the lights in your eyes or your eyeballs get about that big.
What did he say? It was the 80s?
Yeah.
90s. I can't remember what he said.
I think it was 90 from that side, but yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, that would be very interesting in that parking lot. So anyway, getting Paula patched through here. Let's see what her question is or her comment on the first manual transmission car. We'll see what that is and see if we can have some fun with this deal still, Josh.
We'll get them patched through there as well. Oh,
Okay,
here we go. Good morning. You're on live with Under the Hood.
Oh, yeah. I was calling in to tell you the first car that I drove a stick shift on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a 1965 Super Sport. And I was so bad at it that I had to let it roll down the hill and go a different route. But I did learn how to drive it. So.
Well, that's cool. So that would have been a 4-speed on the floor.
That would have been a 4-speed on the floor.
Yep. 4-speed on the floor.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So you had to let it roll down the hill and change
backwards,
directions.
Yeah. And change directions because, yeah, it had a real touchy clutch, and like I said, it was the first time I ever tried to drive it.
So let's go one step further. Who taught you how to drive it?
Oh, my ex-husband. It was his car.
And was he patient with the process?
Yeah, kind of. He was probably scared to be anything but patient.
Well,
but anyway, so yeah.
Well, very good.
Very good.
Well, thank you for calling in and sharing your story.
Oh, you're welcome.
You have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Getting a little feedback there from Paul, but that's okay. Still funny stories on all that stuff. I'm sure some people had some guts to call in and can have some more stories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. And, I think of the person sitting in the passenger seat on each one of these stories and what that experience is like.
Okay, so now I'll tell you the Scout, when it was still a manual transmission.
Yeah.
My grandpa lived on the north side of Halstead, and his property went all the way down to the river, and it was kind of wooded down in there. And of course, I used to always mow that grass back there all the time. He had a great riding lawnmower, one of those snappers.
Yeah.
I rode that thing many hours back there mowing that land and everything back there. But then they decided when to clean some trees out and clear some out of there and everything else like that too. So we took the Scout down there to pull some trees out. My dad was there. I'm driving. And we hook a chain around one of the trees. And of course, manual transmission, which of course my dad's telling me quit, just let the clutch out and go. Don't sit there and, slide the clutch. I had it smelling pretty good. So I turn around and I hit that thing and did just what he said. But the problem what happened is the truck went sideways and the right quarter panel ended up into another tree.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I was ready to get my, shoot out, but he knew that
that's what he told you to do.
I did it. And that thing went sideways and in another tree. So he went back around, hooked the chain, and we rolled back up top to where my grandpa's garage was at. And my mom was sitting there and she looked at that and said, "What happened there?" He just shook his head and off we went. Didn't say nothing. Never. I thought I could get my, reamed out hard.
Shoot out for it. Yeah.
Nope.
That's exactly what he told you to do.
Yeah,
so
I did it. I mean, trust me, that clutch was a smoking. It was a smoking from that part. So anyway, I think maybe we run our time out on the manual transmission.
Transmissions,
call in and everything else too. But hey, we're running out of time too. And Josh, we don't do a good job talking about our sponsors help with the show each and every week and partnerships that we have with our great people, but BG Products, all the great preventative maintenance products we use right inside here at Mel Hambelton Ford. Hey, we had a great time with them here a couple weeks ago when Bob Tasca came to town.
Yep.
And went out and put my GT500 on the dyno, and can't thank those guys enough for the great partnership. Now, the next thing we're getting ready to do is we're going to go put our new Mustang out there on the dyno. We thought it was going to be ready to go, but we decided that we found out we weren't getting enough fuel to those new injectors on the new 21 Mustang that we're hopping up with the turbo and stuff. So we got some more fuel pumps and a fuel cell coming for that. So once we get that on there, we'll take that car out there to BG and put on the dyno and see kind of what kind of power we're getting out of that thing, and then hit it back to the drag strip and kind of see how we're going to turn with some times and stuff like that too. We went out there and run it, and it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be because I guess he was only doing about 6 pounds of boost, and these guys got her turned up to about 20. So it ought to be an interesting pound. What 6 versus 20 pounds of boost takes off of.
Dues one way or the other. Yep.
But anyway, can't thank BG enough for all the great preventative maintenance products they give us, the partnership we have with those guys, and all the great products that they have to keep your car running many, many miles. And remember, what that owner's manual says, there's not one thing in that owner's manual is ever going to tell you about putting the BG products in your fuel system or your crankcase or any of their products. That's because, you know what? The manufacturers don't want them to run any longer than they have to, so they can sell you another one or sell you some parts. So just remember, what's in the owner's manual is your minimum requirements to do that vehicle. So anyway, Big Corner Creative, all your advertising needs. It's a wrap shop. It's a web page. It's anything to advertise your business, from Google advertising and traditional. So you still want to do some radio, want to do some TV, that part, but anything to advertise your business. Big Corner Creative is a full-fledged 100% advertising company. It takes care of about 80 different companies out there that need their assistance on advertising your company and getting your word out. And of course, we do race car wraps, we do vehicle wraps, we do window tinting, all kinds of things there at Big Corner Creative. So if you need any of that kind of stuff, give those guys a call, which they say,
just Google them.
There you go. And then, of course, our rent department here. Stan's got a great fleet of vehicles over there. Go to rent. And I wish I could get some more, Josh, but it's been kind of tough getting a lot of products in there for them and everything else, too. With this supply chain we have and the lack of cars we have, we used to have about 180, 190 cars over there, and we're down, I think I got it back up to about 60.
Yeah, it's a lot better now than what it has been for sure.
Just about a few more bought the other day, and I think they're here. It happened when I left last night, putting the race car rig away. I drove by and saw that Ranger that I bought for him and put over there, so that's cool too. So a few different varieties of things in Go to Rent. So if you're looking for a 12 or 15 passenger van or need something to get you for the next holiday weekend coming up, give Stan a call right inside here at Mel Hambelton Ford. Josh, any last final comments, questions, anything, comments we need?
Appreciate everybody calling in and telling their story on the manual transmissions for sure. It's always fun and exciting to hear what what people have to say and the memories they have in and around the automotive world for sure.
Very true. So, hey, everybody, thanks for all the callers. Thanks for everybody watching, listening. Thanks for the great comments on the chat side. Everybody have a great Saturday, and we'll talk to you next Saturday.